Well, this is probably the most comfortable hit I've ever done with Mark Ogden. I've got my cup of tea in hand. He's got his cup of coffee in hand, but it's been far from a comfortable year for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United, Oggy. And today marks the anniversary of when he became permanent just last year. And as I said, it's been far from comfortable. Some might want to celebrate this anniversary, others not so much. How do you see it?
I think where they are now is a lot better than they were 6 weeks ago. I think 6, 7 weeks ago, probably the defeat against Burnley at Old Trafford, that was a real kind of that was a real low point, and people were thinking then, can you see the season out? But since then, they picked up some great results, which kind of coincided with the arrival of Bruno Fernandes, and they went into this coronavirus shutdown looking like a team in form, and they were looking really kind of well set for a top four place. So obviously, if or when we resume the season, we don't know what sort of shape they'll be in, but he's left himself in a much healthier position than he was, at the end of January, certainly.
Well, another thing with Man United as well that we have constantly been discussing, and I use this phrase all the time, and I say it's like turning a corner but into a wall. You get good results against Chelsea or against Liverpool in terms of like a draw, and then you go and you end up losing to the likes of Watford or Burnley or Newcastle, with all due respect to them. Did you see any signs in these last 6 weeks, like you said, with the arrival of Ighalo as well as Bruno Fernandes, that this could be a concrete style that could work in the long term, that could really resuscitate Man United?
It was beginning to show positive signs, and I think the next game should have been Tottenham away, which was obviously a crucial game. I thought that would have been a test, even though Tottenham were in a kind of a bad state at the time. If they'd gone to Tottenham and won, then it would have been a real kind of vindication of Solskjaer's way of doing things. But you talk about turning a corner, walking into a brick wall. Well, the brick wall has been this shutdown, because United were the team that were flying, to be honest. I mean, I think aside from Liverpool, United were probably in better form than anybody else. So, what happens next, who knows? But I do think that any kind of suggestions that Solskjaer's job would have been unsafe at the end of the season, whenever that is, I think they've gone there, because obviously the situation means that he can't start changing managers. But I think he'd done enough to earn himself a second go and a bit of real kind of go at the transfer market this summer.
And just looking on the pitch and in turns back again to the style of play, has he found somewhat of an identity, like Ole type football, that's close enough to the United way that we keep hearing so much about, that we know the fans want back again at United?
I don't know yet. I think against the better teams, he's got this way of playing where they sit deep and hit them on the counter attack, and I think it's been great. It's worked. They've had some great results, but we still have to see, a kind of definite way they can beat the lesser teams. And they had to start picking up results. The Watford win at home was one, but I still think that they need to do a bit more. But the Fernandes signing's been massive in that respect. I think that who knows what will happen when Pogba's fit again, whether Pogba and Fernandes play together, or whether Fernandes is really the replacement for Pogba. We don't know. I mean, so much is up in the air now. It's so difficult to kind of tell us what's going to happen. Is Pogba going to stay? Is he going to go? Will he play in this team? All bets are off, because the situation is so unpredictable right now in every sense.
And then speaking of that, I remember speaking to Stevie Nicol just probably about a year or two ago. I forgot exactly who we were talking about, but he says situations like these, like the Paul Pogba situation right now, are stuff that usually make or break a manager, because it's a high-profile player, probably the most high-profile player at Manchester United right now, even though he hasn't been on the pitch in a hot minute. But how crucial to Ole's reign at United is his handling of this Pogba situation?
You know something? I think it's reached the point now where it's not that, well, it's a big deal, but I don't think it's going to make or break Ole. I think Fernandes has come in and done so well that perhaps that is the defining transfer of his managerial career, that he's the guy that, I won't say, let's not compare him to Eric Cantona, but he's had that similar kind of effect where he's changed the mood, he's changed the way that United play. So bringing him in is for me the defining transfer. So Pogba right now feels to me like he's become almost surplus to requirements, because he's hardly played. I think he's played 8 games all season. He's not been playing recently. Fernandes has come in, has started doing what Pogba should have done. So if Pogba goes this summer, or whenever it is, this autumn, then I don't think people say, well, they've lost a great player, because Pogba hasn't done it for United. So in that sense, whether he stays or goes, I think it's more of a question mark of a Solskjaer if he stays. If he decides to keep him, he's got to find a way to play him in this team. And they say that great players always find a way, but Pogba and Fernandes in the same team, I'm not quite sure how that would work. So maybe he's already dealt with the Pogba situation by signing Fernandes.
And then a few weeks ago, I know I was in Manchester, of course, still trying to get a feel from the fans how they feel about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And again, it was still mixed reviews, still a bit more, I want to say, negative than probably he would like. And the constant name that's still constantly being thrown around is Mauricio Pochettino. What's the deal there? Does Ole have to kind of keep looking over his shoulder for that one?
I think while Pochettino's out of work, I think he'll always be a shadow hanging around. But Solskjaer can deal with that by getting results, and until recently had been doing that. And the fact that they've stopped getting results has nothing to do with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's to do with something that's completely out of our hands, everybody's hands. So if he gets through this season and the summer and he's still in the job, Pochettino will still be a problem if Pochettino hasn't got a job. But right now, I think Pochettino is probably the most frustrated man on the planet right now in football, because he's probably thinking, how am I going to get back in? Because nobody right now is looking at managers. The situation now is all about, when are we going to play again? Can we get through the season and finish it? Who are we going to sign? Managers are just, it's so far off the agenda right now that I think Pochettino's got a problem. He might be able to work for quite a while yet.
And then just overall, I know, of course, there's so many uncertainties still going on. We're trying to see if and when we will get a proper transfer window as well, if and when we'll get the end of the season, really and truly. But I think transfer windows are what everyone has been looking for Ole to do good in, to help build a squad, because I suppose in his defense, they could say that it's not like he's been working with the best Manchester United squad that, say, a Sir Alex would have been working with. So what are you expecting from him then? What does he need left at Manchester United to really just build that squad?
I think he needs more up front. I think they'll do a permanent deal for Ighalo. I think Ighalo's done so well in such a short space of time that he's just a great option on the bench, if nothing else. You know, he's a proven goal scorer. He's not as Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's not in that quality or Henrik Larsson, but he's a sort of player that will do a job, and he's done that brilliantly. I think they need maybe a Sancho. I think Sancho's on the cards. They probably need another defender, a quality centre half, because I'm not sure that Lindelof is the answer. In midfield, they clearly need a bit more quality in the kind of the defensive situations. And I'd still look at David de Gea and think, is he the best goalkeeper that Man United can have? Are there options out there that, maybe Jan Oblak or bring Dean Henderson back? So he's got things to resolve. Again, Anthony Martial, great one day, not so great the next 4 or 5 days. So let's not get fooled into thinking that United are 2 or 3 players away from being a championship contender. They're not, but they're on the right path. And, Solskjaer's made the right signings. It's just a case of finding the 3 or 4 quality players now to take them to that next step.
All right, Augie, with all that said, put on your professor hat, because I know you are. Give me a grade for Ole for the last year.
Well, for the last year, I think, if we're talking March to March, I think he's gone from, in January, he would have been a C-. I think he's probably now a B+.
A B+. Oh, I think you'll take that all day, every day. Might as well. Thank you so much to Mark Ogden, as always. Good to see a little bit of your home life, Augie. And now I know that you drink coffee. Cheers until we chat to the next Man United. Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.